Okay, so let's get started. So, do you want to quickly say what happened yesterday, Laya?
So, yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
Dashratha wanted to make Rama king, and he was asking some advisors like if he was making the right decision, and then they they all praised Rama and agreed with his decision to make him king. And then Dashratha went and told Rama that he was going to be the next king.
Thank you, Laya. Thank you for your quick recap of what we read yesterday. So let's continue today. Chapter 4, Preparations. After Rama had gone away, Dashratha sent for Vashishta and spoke to him about the coronation which had to take place in the morning. He said, please take care that Rama adopts Diksha and fasts tonight with his wife. This will, I know, assure him of wealth, kingdom, and fame. Vashishta, who knew the past, present, and future, spoke not a word and took his seat in the chariot which was waiting for him, and he went to the palace of Rama. Rama stood up from the seat where he was reclining, and he welcomed his teacher. He gave him his right hand and helped him descend from the chariot. Vashishta was very fond of his pupil, who was so full of respect for the elders. Just one second. Was full of respect for the elders and who did not know what it was to be arrogant. Ever humble and gentle, Rama had won the heart of the old man long ago. They sat down on seats covered with costly silk. Vashishta said, Rama, like Nahusha crowned Yayati from your father has decided to make you crown prince. You have to observe all the religious rites which are preliminaries to the great event which is to take place tomorrow. He initiated Rama and Sita into the Diksha. Rama honored him and the Kulaguru left Rama after blessing him. Rama had many people to talk to, people who had come to see him after hearing about the coronation of the morrow. After spending some time with them, Rama entered his inner apartments. Vashishta, when he left the palace of Rama, came out into the streets. Wherever his eyes rested, he saw nothing but men and women, some dancing, some singing, everyone expressing joy in some way or other. The city was already decorated and flowers were sprinkled on the roads and garlands of flowers festooned the pillars and terraces of the houses. Banners were fluttering everywhere and the entire city was waiting for the coming of the morning when their beloved Rama would be the Yuvaraja. Rama, in the meantime, purified himself by the rituals dictated by Vashishta and accompanied by his wife Sita performed the puja for Narayana. Later, they spent the night on the floor where darba grass has been spread. Early in the morning, he was roused from his sleep by the Vandya and Magadha and Sutas. He woke up and performed the morning ablutions and recited the sacred Gayatri. He was wearing white silk and he worshipped the Brahmins who were in the palace. Even as the east began to lighten as the forerunner of the dawn, the city began to assume a festive look. Music could be heard everywhere, and there was dancing and singing in the streets. The people were delirious with happiness, and there was joy and nothing but joy in the heart of everyone in Ayodhya. Chapter 5, The Maid Manthara. On the day the king announced his intention to crown Rama, the city began to don the garb of gaiety and happiness. That evening, a servant maid of Kaikeyi, Manthara by name, happened to go up to the terrace of the palace. It was sheer chance that which prompted this woman to do so, since usually, just one second. Prompted this woman to do so, since usually she was not in the habit of doing so, deformed as she was because of a hunch in her back. The terrace, which was as white and beautiful as a stream of moonlight, attracted her perhaps, or perhaps it was fate which made her ascend the steps of the terrace of the queen's palace. She stood near the parapet of the terrace and looked down at the city of Ayodhya. Something out of the way struck her. The streets were covered with flowers, and the scent of the water had been sprinkled on them reached her. There were banners fluttering everywhere. The people were all looking greatly excited, and there seemed to be excessive joy writ on their faces. She could hear music, and she was intrigued as to what the great event was which the people seemed to be celebrating. Even as she was wondering, she saw a maid passing by. This maid was wearing white silk garments, and her eyes were dancing with joy. Manthara accosted her and asked her, "Tell me, what is all this excitement about? What is to happen?" Rama's mother seems to be giving away gifts to everyone around. I've never seen it happen before. The citizens seem to be very happy too. What is the provocation? The maid who was standing by smiled happily and said, "How is it you do not know about it? Tomorrow, early in the morning, the emperor is desirous of crowning noble-minded Rama as a Yuvaraja. There is nothing but joy in the heart of everyone, and that is why the city is looking so happy." Manthara could hardly stand there listening to her words. Uncontrollable anger filled her heart, and with the maid watching her with wondering eyes, she hobbled down the steps of the terrace without speaking even a word in reply. Manthara went straight as an arrow into the chambers of Kaikeyi, the young queen. She was the beautiful mother of Bharata lying down on a couch, half asleep. Manthara rushed up to her and said, "Get up, you stupid woman. This is not the time to lie down. Great dangers approaching you. You will soon be drowned in a sea of sorrow, and without being aware of it, you recline on the couch as though nothing has happened. You're blinded by the assurance that the king is lost in you, but that he loves you more than he loves anyone else. Can you not see that the love of the king is like the summer stream short lived?" Kaikeyi paid no attention to the words of Manthara. Evidently, she knew the old woman who had come to Ayodhya with her when she was married. She had been with her ever since she was a child, and she was granted certain privileges because she had brought up Kaikeyi. After a while, the queen looked at her and said, "Manthara, I hope you're well. Your face looks as though you're sick. You seem to be unhappy about something. What is bothering you?" Manthara stood fuming with anger. After a while, composing herself, she said, "Madam, the king is contemplating your destruction even at this very moment. He is planning to crown Rama as Yuvaraja tomorrow. As for me, concerned as I am about you and your good welfare, I feel I'm being burnt up by grief and anger. You'll be destroyed, my queen, and I have come to you hoping to find a way to save you. Kaikeyi, you know how much I love you. Your happiness is my happiness, and when danger threatens you, it threatens me too. You were born as a daughter of a king, but you have been the dear queen of an emperor. How is it then you do not know about the intrigues in the royal court? Your lord the king talks glibly about dharma, but he is deceiving you. He speaks words steeped in honey, but at heart he is cruel. You're very simple, trusting, and very innocent. You're not able to perceive the truth about the nature of the king. All these years he has been talking to you words of such sweetness that you have not been able to see through his deception. Look, he's now granting all good fortune to Kaushalya and not to you. With evil designs forming in his mind, he has sent away your son to the kingdom of Kekaya. And when there is no obstruction in his path, he is going to establish Rama on the throne. You do not know it, but the king is really your enemy. He is like a serpent. Since he is your husband and you've never questioned his actions, and like a mother does her child, you have taken this serpent in your hands and placed it in your lap. And an enemy or a serpent, when unnoticed, is sure to hurt. And that is what the king is doing now. You are a mother and your motherhood is being ignored. It is time for you to wake up from the dream of security. Seek the good of your son and thus save yourself from calamity and me too, along with you. Kaikeyi had not even bothered to get up from her couch. The words of Manthara, the king is crowning Rama as Yuvaraja tomorrow, were all she heard. She would not listen to anything else. She was full of happiness, and her face became as charming as the moon during the season by name Sharat. Pleasure and surprise were writ on her face. Impulsively, she removed a costly necklace from her neck and gave it to Manthara, saying, "Oh, Manthara, what a glorious thing to happen! And you have brought me the good news. Take this as my gift for making me happy. If you want anything more, ask of me. I'm so happy. My Rama is to be the Yuvaraja tomorrow." She paused for a moment and continued, "I'm very pleased by the decision of the king. I've never made any difference between Rama and Bharata as far as my love is concerned. They are both my sons. I'm well pleased with this event. You could not have given me any news more welcome than this." Manthara, filled as she was with anger, grief, hatred, flung the jewel on the floor. Kaikeyi could not understand why she was behaving like this. She stared with her eyes wide open in wonderment. Manthara said, "How careless about yourself and your future can you be, that you can rejoice at this? You still do not seem to realize that it means nothing but sorrow for you. You are indeed very childish. Only a woman like you will rejoice at the good fortune that has befallen another queen of the king. Tomorrow, during the time when the star Pushya is in the ascent, the wise men of the court will perform the Abhisheka of Kaushalya's son. Is it not evident that the king really favors Kaushalya and not you? With the obstacle in her path wiped away, Kaushalya will be favorite of all. Everyone will attend on her hereafter, since she will be the queen mother, and as for you, you will also stand by as one of her handmaidens. Your son Bharata will have to be a serf to Rama." Manthara paused for breath. She was still fuming with rage and frustration since Kaikeyi would not listen to her. The queen intervened and said, "Manthara, Rama is righteous and he has been trained in the path of Dharma by the best of men. He is a noble and gentle soul. He is not enamored of wealth or kingdom. He is the eldest son of the king, and it is but right that he should be crowned as the Yuvaraja. Throughout his lifetime, he will protect his brothers and his kinsfolk like the father will. His children Father will his children. Why do you feel so strongly about this? After 100 years of Rama's rule, Bharata will become the king. The present event, Rama's coronation, is welcomed by all as a happy event. Why should you and only you be unhappy? Bharata is no doubt dear to me, but Rama is greater than even Bharata. He loves me more than he does his mother Kaushalya. He loves his brothers so much that it is immaterial whether Rama is a king or Bharata. The kingdom will belong to both of them and to their brothers too." Manthara sighed as though her heart had already been broken, and with her voice choked with tears, she said, "What am I to do with you and your foolishness? You're surrounded on all sides by the terrible danger which will lead you to eternal sorrow. This sea is threatening to engulf you, and you refuse to realize it. Listen to me now very carefully, Kaikeyi. Rama will become the monarch. It will be his son who will rule after him and not your son. Bharata will be just an object of ridicule. Remember, all the sons of the king are not entitled to be their heirs. If it were so, there will be many difficulties which have to be faced, and that is why the rule has been laid down that the king should be allowed to use his discretion to choose one of his sons as his successor. Your son is destined to be ignored by all and be treated as an underling. I came to you because I wish you well, and you do not seem to understand me. Your rival Kaushalya seems to have come into her own, and you rejoice so much over it that you reward me with a jewel for bringing you the dire news. I assure you of one fact. Once he is firmly established on the throne, Rama will either banish Bharata from the country or even seek his death. Bharata is a pure minded youngster and he is away in his uncle's house in Kekeya. Do you not know the simple truth that love thrives only when the persons are with you all the while? Shatrughna is devoted to Bharata even as Lakshmana is to Rama, and Shatrughna has gone with Bharata. The world knows well the affection which exists between Rama and Lakshmana. Rama will never injure Lakshmana, but the same cannot be said about his treatment of Bharata. I assure you, Rama will try to harm Bharata. I suggest that you send word to your son to go away to the forest from the palace of Kekeya king. However, if it is possible for Bharata to be able to be made the heir to the ancient kingdom of Kosala, then it will be a matter of pride to you and to those who are devoted to you. It stands to reason that Rama will not treat your son as a brother, since Bharata will be a rival to him. Accustomed as he is to luxury and comforts, how can Bharata expect the same life after the coronation of Rama? He'll be like an elephant in the forest oppressed by a lion. You're the only one capable of saving him. Again, think of yourself. What have you been doing all these years? The king has chosen you as his favored queen, and pride had gone to your head so much that you have constantly insulted Kausalya. Now that she has a chance to retaliate, do you think the queen mother, as she soon will be, will hesitate to assert herself and punish you for your arrogance? The moment Rama is crowned, all your privileges as the dear queen of Dashrata will be at an end, and insults will be heaped on you and your son. Bharata will be destroyed. I hope you have realized the truth of my words, at least now. Make haste and think of a method by which Bharata will be crowned and Rama banished from Kosala. End of the chapter 5. So, what are your takeaways in these two chapters we read now? Preparations and then the maid Manthara.
I feel like Kaikeyi was. I always thought she was the bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
but now I realize that she was actually happy for like her stepson,
Yeah.
and that was very nice of her. But then Manthara's like kind of getting under her skin.
By
Yeah.
consistently
Yeah,
saying negative things about Rama. So,
Like
yeah.
not
It's like the people around you affect like your
like
decision.
Rama wouldn't have gone banished and Dasharatha wouldn't have died if Manthara didn't say anything.
mm,
But he had to get banished because he had to kill Ravana.
yeah. So, yeah, they said even Vashishta knew what's going to happen, but he was just doing what needs to be done because Rama is born to kill Ravana. So, the Mantara is part of the process as to what needed to happen, right? It was, but I like what Laya said. That's what, like, what we can take from it is like, even if we are feeling very positive about something, if we allow a lot of negative inputs from different people and uh, it doesn't have to be from one person, even what we consume, not just from our family, but from our friends, from social media, what we watch, it can have a huge effect on us, right? Kaikeyi, like they show, she's so positive, she's so happy for Rama, in fact. And then to the point where you can't imagine that she'll change her mind, right? So we'll continue Kaikeyi's decision now with chapter 6. Now, what the emotion she's using is actually to put fear in Kaikeyi's heart that she's going to be sidelined by Kausalya. So she's giving all these different scenarios where she's trying to make Kaikeyi fear for her own safety, for her own comforts. So that's how she's getting under her skin.
Yeah.
Under her skin was the right word, Laya. So we have 5 more minutes. So we'll continue with chapter 6, Kaikeyi's decision. The poison began to work. Manthara's words had the desired effect, and Kaikeyi was all love for Rama, changed suddenly. Her face was now flushed with anger and sighs escaped her. She said, "You're right, Manthara. You're right. Rama has to be banished. I will today, at this very moment, send Rama away to the forest. I will summon Bharata from Kekeya and crown him as a Yuvaraja, Manthara. Tell him how I am to accomplish this. Rama should go and Bharata should be king. How am I going to do it? Think deeply and advise me as to how I can do it." The sinful hunchback spoke slowly and deliberately. "May the gods be praised that you have come to your senses finally. I'll tell you how to achieve the crowning of Bharata and the exile of Rama. Kaikeyi, have you forgotten something what happened long ago? You confided it to me then, and evidently you've forgotten it, or perhaps you do not remember having told me about it. If you wish that I should repeat what you once told me, I shall do so to please you. Kaikeyi rose up a little from the couch where she was leaning and said, I'm not playing a game with you, or no, nor do I remember anything which I told you. I am impatient. Tell me how I can make Bharata king instead of Rama. Manthara spoke with a wicked smile, lighting her ugly face. I want you to go back several years. Do you remember the war in the high heavens when the Devas fought with the Asuras? King Dasharatha had been asked by Indra to help, and he went, and with you, and with him, you. Sambara was the Asura who was the chief enemy of Indra. During the night, the Asuras entered the encampment and they began to kill the men there. Your husband fought with all of them and finally fell down senseless. Dasharatha was hurt. You carried him away from the sight of danger. Hurt as he was by the arrows and rendered senseless by his wounds, Dasharatha was nursed by you and his life was saved by you. Pleased with you and your devotion, he granted you two boons. Then you said, I do not need them. If at any time I need them very badly, I will ask you for them. So be it, said the king, and there the matter ended. You once told me about this, and I have not forgotten it. Kaikeyi, the time has come when you must ask the king to grant you these two boons. One of the boons will be the crowning of Bharata as the Yuvaraja, and with the other, you can have Rama banished to Dandaka forest for a duration of 14 years. This is the way to force the hand of the king and to assure yourself with Bharata that Bharata will be king. Kaikeyi was listening silently to the words of Manthara. The wicked mentor continued, Kaikeyi, you must enter the chamber called Krodha Griha, the chamber where you stay when you're angry about anything. Remove these beautiful silks you're wearing and dress yourself in soiled clothes. Lie on the bare ground as though you have been weeping for a long time and that you're unhappy. The king will surely come to see you tonight. Behave as though you are very angry. Do not talk to him. Do not receive him when he comes to you, nor should you reply when he talks to you. You are very dear to the king, and he will even fall into the blazing fire if you so desire. I have no doubt about his love for you. He cannot bear to see you angry or unhappy. He'll try to pacify you in every way. He will say that he will even give up his very life if it will please you. Remember that the king loves you to distraction. He cannot refuse you anything. When he sees you on the ground, he will try to placate you with gifts of gems and pearls and lovely ornaments. Be very careful and do not be distracted by these. Remind him of the boons he granted you in the days of the yore and make him promise you that he will grant you anything you like and then make him grant you these boons. Everything depends on you and your firmness. He must promise to give you anything you ask for, and then and only then should you mention the boons and ask for them. When the boons are granted, you should tell him what they are. You should say, send Rama to the forest for the duration of 14 years and make my son Bharata the Yuvaraja. If Rama is away in the forest for this long time, your son will be able to establish himself firmly on the throne and nothing can dislodge him. Remember, you must make sure Rama is banished. This is the one and only way to make your son's future secure. Rama, who will be away from the kingdom for 14 years, will soon be forgotten by the people, and that boon should be granted by the king at any cost. You must make sure of that. Do not let your mind weaken when the king appeals to you to change your mind. So we will stop there, page 121. It's going very interestingly. You agree?
Yeah, I want you to keep reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tomorrow is Thursday, so we'll continue. We have stopped midway, and we'll be continuing tomorrow. Let's say the
Okay.
closing prayer. Sit straight, close your eyes, and let's take a deep breath in. Om.
Om. Om.
Om.
Om.
Om
Om
Om Purnamada
Purnamada
Purnamidam
Purnamidam
Purnat
Purnat Purnam
Purnamudachyate
Purnamudachyate
Purnasya
Purnasya
Purnamadaya
Purnamadaya
Mevavashishyate.
Purnamevavasishyate
Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti.